It's popular,
Done.
so it's gotta be
Done.
good.
People often ask why a certain title isn't more popular and how it deserves more attention. Most of the times, the answer is because it was never meant to be more popular. It was made for a niche audience and is thus reserved for a very specific taste. Just because you happen to like it, doesn't mean most others share your very peculiar taste.
I'm a chimpanzee. You can watch me shit and pee.
Other times, people ask why is a title as popular as it is when their tastes are fairly mainstream and yet they don't see the appeal. The answer is usually because they bumped onto a niche community that happens to be hyping it at the moment. The anime community is not that big, and finding a lot of praise about a certain mediocrity while it's new is not that hard.
They've replaced the Bomberman character with some generic anime girl. I think like their clothes get dishevelled a bit if you want to look at hentai without looking at hentai.
Most shows are a niche to begin with. Their appeal can be zipped down to a couple of ideas. See past those ideas and there is probably nothing special about them. If a series fails to sell you its selling point because it was never part of the things you like, you were obviously never meant to like it. In fact, chances are you're going to react in a pretty cringy way. Keep in mind that most of what is popular began as a niche that gradually grew bigger through several years of constant praising by its fanbase, as well as proper marketing. People get used to hearing about it, and by the time it gets to them, they are already sold into the idea of it being good because it's popular.
The awesome doesn't last for long. Oh child, does it ever get worse.
There are lots of shows which are made for a mainstream audience right away, something which is usually achieved by having a bit of everything. The problem with such a series is that they do not try to excel in something so they can attract all demographics evenly, and come off very blunt and stupid once you strip away the variety provided from done-to-death stereotypes.
Let it be said that a bad idea never stopped an anime from being made.
So the next time you're wondering why something is or is not as popular as you want it to be, don't look on the stage, look for the reasons behind the scenes. It's probably going to be something you were better enough not knowing about.
I'm a chimpanzee. You can watch me shit and pee.
Every time someone asks why so many people hate the title X, one of the most frequent replies is because it's popular. But what is the logic behind disliking popular series? The easiest answer is because you are jealous of what you don't like being more popular than what you like. So essentially, such people do not hate the show as much as they hate the fandom which made it popular. They wouldn't be bothered if those shows had no hype. Which brings us back to the good old excuse of feels. If I feel deep feels deep in my deep feels means that what I like is better than whatever I don't feel deep feels deep in my deep feels. You judge something only based on how much you cried or laughed, in comparison to something else you didn't cry or laugh as much. It's a selfish and stupid reason. There is a second, more indirect reason for it, which has to do with not liking the average specimen of a certain genre. In this case, popular and average become the same thing. What is average is defined by what the majority is doing within a certain demographic. If most series feel formulaic, it's because the formula they are using is liked by the majority of the viewers within a genre. Meaning, most scriptwriters are using formulas because they work for the majority of their audience and thus become popular. Disliking a show for pleasing the majority of its intended audience is again selfish and cannot be excused beyond personal preferences. There is a third reason which excuses the dislike of popularity. Although there is nothing wrong in belonging to a group of people who like something for similar reasons, praising mediocrity as if it's something more than mediocre is not. It is fine to point out what you like within a certain demographic, but when you try to evaluate it using universal standards, such as writing, directing or animation, you are challenging every other demographic. Seen as trespassing, the denizens of other demographics will of course defend their claims of why their series are their favorite. When you use gold standards, you are provoking a reaction, and it's only then when popularity becomes an issue to dislike. Since too many people are trespassing on what others consider good, it's no longer an isolated incident, it's an invasion. So here is something important to keep in mind. Average and mediocre are not the same thing. Average means that something is doing the same thing as most others within a genre. Mediocre means it's nothing special and you feel nothing towards it. When something is executed well, it's not mediocre despite being average. It's also why an average light novel is still garbage compared to an average literature book in terms of quality writing, even if the intended audience loves them. Even if you disagree with these cringy stories for creepy otakus not being train wrecks, you can at least agree with how a mediocre show that does nothing out of the ordinary but also doesn't mess up too much is still superior to something that makes you facepalm every 10 seconds with its terrible execution, also known as average beats flashy train wreck. Let's end this by clarifying a fallacy many are using. When someone states he doesn't like a popular title, a frequent reply would be that he does it just to attract attention. This is perfectly normal and not something that can be used against him. If someone agrees with what everybody else is saying, it will not have nearly the reaction of someone who disagrees. The more popular a series is, the more attention it's going to attract. This is not a negative thing, it's common sense. It's only the fanboys who make it sound bad because their jimmies are not rustling softly anymore. This is a classic case of using ad populum fallacy where someone hides behind the majority in order to prove the minority wrong.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
The Popularity Contest Awards of 2017 are out, and they are not that better than the Yuri on Ice Awards of 2016. There is more diversity, but the results are still decided by popularity instead of quality. Best Popular Film? Not the 90s short walk-on girl, but a horribly written escapism rom-com about time resets. Yuasa's experimental and psychological film was clearly better. There is nothing to vote here. We all know which one is the better written, better directed film. Best Slice of Life, the show almost nobody was talking about when it was airing and has already been forgotten. And it's not the clearly superior Showa Genroku, because even fewer people were watching that. Best Drama, The Ancient Skeleton's Underage Sex Slave. It's the same case as the previous one. Why is this drama more compelling than the Showa Genroku's drama? There's hardly anything going on in it, and even if you can say the same thing about Genroku, at least that one wasn't about cringe. Best Continuing Series. Why is there such a category to begin with when most anime are ongoing or incomplete? Why do you vote for a show that it's still ongoing? Best Popular Ending Theme? The Lesbian Dragons? Did anyone actually listen to that generic piece of trash that you forget the moment it's over? I didn't listen to every ending of every show last year, but from the major contestants alone, the ending of Attack on Titan is obviously better simply for how haunting it is. I may hate the show, but that ending song is better than the other generic pop trash. And speaking of Attack on Titan, did you notice how it didn't win anything? Mostly because My Hero Academia won in half the categories, so it's this year's ridiculously overrated Yuri on Ice type of deal, but also because people got sick and tired of it, and it's no longer the best show in the history of forever anymore. Now it's just another throwaway mystery bait piece of shit, and I was right all along. But it's not like the fandom got smarter or anything. They still love mystery baits while they are still full of mystery, and lose interest as soon as they got the obviously disappointing Shamalamalang the Village answers. What do Kemono Friends, Land of the Lustrous, Girls Last Tour, and Made in Abyss all have in common that made them so popular? Cute girls in a mysterious post-apocalyptic setting. That's fucking it, nothing else. And let me tell you another obvious thing now. It's been only 1 year and nobody gives a shit about Yuri on Ice anymore. The same thing will happen to Made in Abyss as soon as the answers are given, and by the next year you guys will be hyping the next Black Clover or some bullshit. That's how useful these popularity polls are. For all I care, Mahujin Guru Guru was the best show of the year, which is another show everyone forgot already, despite being a great retro action-adventure comedy. And speaking of categories, why is there one for Best Movie and one for Best Series, but not one for Best OVA and ONA? Gundam The Origin is the only worth-hearing title right now, and I sure want to see you try to have Devilman Crybaby as the best TV series of 2018 when it never aired on television. In conclusion, you idiots fucked it up again.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
A frequent fallacy many pseudo-analysts are using is trying to excuse value with success. Something is good because it's famous. This is backwards logic, since something can be good even without being successful.
Horikoshi refused to give up and he learned from his mistakes. And in the end, it paid off for him.
It's a hype train. That's all it is.
The term success is kinda arbitrary when you know the popularity rankings of Shonen Jump are controlled by the editors. If they don't like a series, they are going to throw it at the bottom and be damned how much the readers like it.
My Hero Academia is a great anime, becoming one of the most popular series in the magazine right now, and one of the most recognizable anime and manga of the 2010s in the process.
The typical anime trash, they would hype this thing up way higher than it deserves, and then they will milk it for views.
Hirakoshi had to cancel the series before Hiroaka. The reason they were cancelled was because they weren't mainstream enough. Let's not kid ourselves. If you are not rehashing the style of Naruto or One Piece, you don't stand a chance. Hirakoshi did not learn from his mistakes. He was just hustled into making a damn Naruto clone.
Knowing what Horikoshi had to go through in order to truly achieve his dream of publishing successfully in Jump makes it even better.
Is this all we have to look forward to as anime fans? NBA, you don't know what you're talking about. This is actually good. That's because the bar has been lowered to the point where you guys call anything good. Y'all even call Black Clover good.
Naruto ended, the shonen tards were starving for something to replace it, Boruto was shit, and here comes something similar, but way worse. But they don't care, they just want something to hype, so they will feel special for being part of it, because it's successful while it's popular and hyped. The moment it stops being hyped and something else comes along, they will drop it and move to the next thing. So much for calling it successful.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
For many years, the West was trying to get the rights to stream Neon Genesis legally. Netflix managed to do that and made Funimation very salty for not getting it first, and trying to find excuses for why it was unfair. They said it was a disservice to anime fans. It won't get the exposure it deserves because Netflix has way too many titles, does not advertise them as much as they deserve, and does not focus on specific genres. Neon Genesis will go unnoticed there, unlike if it was on Funimation, a platform specifically made for anime fans. This claim is completely bullshit. Anyone who loves anime and wants to watch something, he can always find a way to stream or torrent anything he likes. Licensing is not going to stand in his way, and it's definitely not gonna take one of the most famous titles in the medium and make it disappear because it doesn't have an official stream in the West. In a nutshell, if you care enough to know of Neon Genesis and want to watch Neon Genesis, you will find a way to watch it, as most of us did for 2 decades now. If you don't know it or don't care enough to watch it, then you won't watch it. It doesn't matter which platform advertises or streams the show, it comes down to how much you personally care. And let me give you an example from recent memory. Although I am not a huge fan of cartoons, I usually check out any series that causes a lot of buzz. That's why I watched Castlevania and She-Ra recently. The thing is, I don't check out something if I don't hear people talking about it, and I don't bother to find out on my own. So when, out of curiosity, I went to Wikipedia to see what else came out in 2018, I easily found a list with links explaining every single one of them. There is a Kung Fu Panda series out there and nobody talks about it. Same thing with 2017. There is a Big Hero 6 series I never heard of. Thus, with this very simple method, I now knew everything that came out and can easily find a stream to watch them whenever I feel like it. It doesn't need to be advertised or hosted somewhere specifically. All it takes is to personally look into it. This is no longer the pre-internet era, where you are limited to whatever television and magazines were telling you. You can find anything you want as long as you want to. Unless of course more Article 13s come out and the internet becomes Big Brother in a few years, but that is a whole different story. For now, it doesn't matter where something streams. It only matters if you care. Piracy is good.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
Hey, it's the Clickbait Awards of 2018! Let's see what pointless things I can say about this meaningless popularity contest. Best Pretty Colors nominees! Let's start by saying what are these doing here? They are fairly average compared to the rest and stand no chance. It's like they couldn't find enough titles or something. A few seconds of Sakuga magically translates to great fighting choreography when it's just a couple of punch exchanges. You call that good animation? Even Giga admits the fights are boring. This one has good animation, but the artwork is very simple and objects are usually monochromatic. This makes it look cheap if you have seen how awesome the previous version was. This one is the exact opposite. Great artwork, pretty dry animation. One problem everyone points out is how the punches have no punch to them. This one has both great artwork and animation, and not for a few seconds every 12 episodes. It's technically the best of the bunch and in theory deserves to win out of all of these. The problem is the presentation was so bad, people didn't know what the show was about. It was pretty colors with no context, the definition of vapid art. Even Digibro, who only cares about cute girls and pretty colors, had no idea what is going on in that show. Which is why the anime with the best pretty colors should have been Gundam the Origin. Consistently great artwork and animation, and you know what the hell you're watching. Best opening. This is mediocre. This is random bullshit. This is cheap. This is hentai. This is Neon Genesis ripoff. JoJo easily wins this one despite being fabulous as fuck. Also, no, Kokoku, are you kidding me? It was an amazing opening that got wasted on an awful series. What's the problem? It wasn't popular enough to be nominated? Best waifu! I won't bother with this bullshit, but I have to point this out. You idiots! One of them is a guy! Make a separate award for queers and stop mixing them with normal people! Best protagonist, slut, autistic, wanty caricature, otaku with no backdrop, self-insert bullshit for pretentious overthinkers. Awesome retro! This one is clearly the best. But even then we both know who are the actually best protagonists. Best antagonist. 10 minutes of total screen time, got defeated with a couple of punches, gets rewritten every 3 episodes, too bored to even do what he wants to do, defined by thighs and boobs, vanilla. The crazy one is the best of the bunch. At least he's having fun with what he's doing, but even then we all know who are the actually best antagonists. And don't tell me they can't be both protagonists and antagonists when one of the nominees is Momonga. Best continuing trash. What the hell is going on here? 3 of them are completed, and another 3 are bottom tier shonen, and JoJo, the clearly best ongoing anime, is not even a candidate. As for the best anime of the year, everything was one big disappointment, so no matter what they show, I won't like it. But if I had to choose one, I would go with Gundam the Origin. What's the problem? It wasn't popular enough to get nominated. They fucked it up for the 3rd time.
How in the fuck do you think that this is passable in any way?
I will skip everything I don't care about, especially the pretty color ones, since I am not an autistic man-child relativist who only wants cute girls.
This is garbaggio! This is garbage! Garbage!
Let's start with the best fight of the year, which is not even a fight. In which dimension does a non-fight win the award for the best fight? My One Punch and It's All Over Academia is the worst possible pick. Are we back to the bullshit logic of it's the message that counts and not the actual fight? Even if you try to excuse it as such, then why did it win if it's not a fight? Even Gigak admits the fights of my gay foot fetish are dull. Why didn't the Boruto fight with Momoshiki win, which is the only one with tactics and enough duration out of this bunch, as well as the only good moment in that garbage of a show? Oh, let me guess, because not many are watching that snore fest, and thus it didn't win the popularity contest.
How can you think not okay things are okay?
Best protagonist, a generic isekai MC. That's like choosing vanilla from all the flavors of ice cream. In which dimension does the most average run-of-the-mill contestant win the award of the best of the best? Oh, I know. In a popularity contest where the ones voting are equally as average and uninspired and can identify with someone who is like them. I don't consider the other contestants to be that better, but I place Agretsuko a bit above the rest for making fun of a boring working life. It is very relatable for someone who hates working and is sitting all day in front of a screen.
Why? Why are you so wrong? How can you stand living when you're so wrong?
Best antagonist, the one with a total screen time of 10 minutes in 3 seasons who got defeated with 1 punch. In which dimension does the show with the surprise villain the last episode win the award for the best villain? Oh, I know which one. The one where the headcanon of all the delusional My Gay Foot Fetish Academia fanboys get what they imagine the plot has been about so far. All for One was never defeated twice, he's not in prison, he's out there, stronger than everyone else, and Deku needs 6 new powers to defeat him. Yeah, best villain ever. The other ones are not that better, but at least the one from Golden Kamuy is having fun at being evil. But he couldn't win because not many were watching the anime with the CGI bears, and thus he lost in the popularity contest.
I don't understand you people! I hate you people!
Best ongoing series? The one that is finished. In which dimension does a finished show win an award for not being finished? Is it the one where all the debutards constantly make videos full of fake evidence of the show continuing next month, while officially nothing is confirmed for almost a year now? Holy shit, why do the headcanons win in every award? You might as well be calling these Chunibyo Awards. As for which one I would choose as the winner, the answer is nothing. What is this shit? It's either crappy fighting shonen or completed series. Nothing deserves to win.
Fuck you! Fuck you! That looks terrible! It all looks terrible! It's so bad!
Best film? My Filler Academia. A typical throwaway filler movie where one-dimensional good guys scream and punch one-dimensional bad guys. It couldn't be the mini Tatame Galaxy because it doesn't have screaming or punching. Who would watch that, am I right? Thus it couldn't win in the popularity contest. And that's it from the Cringy Roll Awards, nothing out of the ordinary, except from those who complain about bullshit such as pretty colors.
Why do you think it's okay to live and be wrong? Stop being wrong! It's not okay! It's not okay to be this wrong!
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
Every time I find such a topic, I am reminded of how people find relatable the most stupid and unhealthy things imaginable. Because that's what the double-edged sword known as escapism does to you. On one hand, you like to identify with characters that are exactly as you want to be. And on the other, you know that if you ever become like them, you will be the biggest asshole there is. Because reality is not as simple as fiction, and what seems to be great in some simplistic fantasy series, it's a complete disaster if it happens in real life. That being said, despite being able to separate shows into genres and demographics, many of them can be separated even further depending on what kind of people they attract. Basically, they become a niche within a niche. Because as much as we want to believe we are free to watch anything we like and we are not limiting our scope to the narrow thematics of a single show, the truth is most series have specific themes and are attracting people with specific mindsets. Those who like a series may not be as simple-minded as whatever is going on in it, but they are certainly watching said series for very specific reasons that cannot be found in such a volume in any other title. We may all be anime fans, but we are separated by 1,000 different desires, which many rush to rename as tastes. This is no longer the time before the 90s when there were too few of us to bother separating ourselves into cliques. We no longer have uniformity as we have fragmented to the point of not having a specific identity. The only thing that defines you ends up being fetishes and dumb bullshit you are saying for defending them. And I say you and not we because I'm better than you. I have taste and I am smart and I like semi-naked muscular men shredding each other to pieces.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
It's that time of the year again when the plebs vote on what is supposed to be the best based on popularity and fool themselves to think any of that will still matter in a couple of months. Let's go over some of them just for a few thousand effortless views. Anime of the Year. If we take into account how there was only one actually good show the whole year, that is not even a competition. It's obviously Vinland Saga, but the tasteless masses will vote for Demon Slayer, because the colors are pretty. Since a pretty mediocrity is somehow better than a mostly pretty amazingly presented historical drama. Best Protagonist. You know the year was bad when all of them are so basic. I don't like Senku, but he's easily the most memorable and fun of the bunch. Best Antagonist. Askeladd, no question about it. He was the highlight of the whole show. The only possible challenger is Garou, and only if we assume people won't hate him because the colors weren't as pretty as in Season 1. By the way, remember when I said they just liked the first one because of the pretty colors? And that they wouldn't like it as much if it wasn't for that? Remember how much they hated that video? And they insisted it's a deconstruction that is great, even if the animation is not amazing? Who's laughing now, you tasteless plebs? Best boy, best girl, best director, I don't give a shit no matter who it is. Best Joli Coeur. The only thing that matters for modern audiences, and the prime reason they don't watch anything that is older than 2 years. I am not even checking the nominees because there is no competition. Demon Slayer is gonna take 99% of the votes. Then there's a whole bunch of other categories I don't care about, so the last one I will mention is Best Drama. Again, look at this. The year was so bad there is no competition. What's the point of nominees when the answer is clear? This year's popularity contest will be so boring. But look on the bright side. Gayfoot, which was winning most of everything in past years, is now nowhere to be seen besides in the Best Antagonist category, when Overhaul is a villain. So much for the fanboys who keep yelling about the show getting better and better.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
The recent cancellation of Samurai 8, you know, that amazing manga that would be everyone's favorite if people gave it a chance, brought forth all the usual excuses that fans in denial are using every time something they like gets axed or doesn't get the popularity they expected. It can't be their bad taste because they like the title, it can't be the incompetence of the mangaka because they like what he makes, so it has to be someone else's fault. So here are the usual 8 scapegoats that get blamed whenever something doesn't become as successful as the fans want it to be.
How dare you!
Number 1. Blame the publishing company. It doesn't show respect to the mangaka and cancels his work despite the years of hard working and the support of many fans. Yes, blame it on the company that only cares about making money, and when it doesn't make money it stops producing it. It's their fault for not making money, although the only incentive for publishing something was making a lot of money. It's their fault for staying true to their initial intentions that were obvious to everyone. This is wrong, and they should be blamed for not publishing every title there is without ever axing it instead of giving new and more promising projects a chance. How dare they doing it for money when they were always doing it for money? You know what the creator should do? He should go independent. He doesn't need a publisher who will advertise his work and minimize the expenses for printing and distributing a title in the whole world. No sir, we don't need any of that. A creator should be paying tens of thousands of dollars for printing, advertising and mailing his own work. I'm pretty sure his work will become very famous that way, and it won't be axed out of disrespect. The creator will be free to be paying 50 grand per volume and publish as much as he wants. He will never axe his own work because it costs him time and money, and nobody will care about it because it doesn't have advertising or distribution.
How dare you!
Number 2. Blame the editors. Those assholes who keep changing things in the plot and don't let the creator make the story the way he wants to. Such disrespect to artistic integrity, for which they never cared about. What matters is telling a story however the hell you want to, without any editing, any proofread, any advice, or any reminder of how you are publishing your work in a magazine that has certain things it doesn't allow, and certain other things it always needs to have so its established audience will buy it, thus making it popular and profitable. Nobody should be tampering with the work of a creator. A creator should be allowed to make whatever the hell he wants to, and an editor only exists for making it more typical and mainstream. Who the hell needs that? Although that way it's not going to alienate most readers and make it unworthy to continue in the eyes of the publisher. It's all the editor's fault a manga gets axed, even if all they are doing is trying to salvage an incomprehensible clusterfuck.
How dare you!
Number 3. Blame the table of contents. The order with which the chapters are published dictate which titles will get the axe. So it's the guy who prepares this table that should be blamed. Fuck the popular and profitable ones that he places at the top, because that's what the publisher cares about for making him the most money, and therefore the ones he wants to promote the most. It's the bizarre shit nobody besides a handful of people is reading that deserve the first places.
How dare you!
Number 4. Blame the haters. They drive people away from the titles I like by being negative. This is unacceptable. Only positive opinions should be allowed about whatever I like, so everyone will be checking it and making it popular and successful. What's that? Without a counter-opinion regarding the problems of a title, everyone's expectations will be too high, and therefore they are not going to like it because it won't be as good as we hype it up to be? Shut up, you hater! It's all your fault it's not more popular. Anyone who doesn't like what I like is a hater, and should be blamed before getting downvoted, reported, and banned.
How dare you!
Number 5. Blame the contrarian critics. They write these long reviews for why a show I like is bad and drive people away from it. I disagree, because I like it. Therefore they're being contrarian and it's their fault. I mean, if it's about a show I don't like either, they are free to shit in it as much as they want because I agree it's bad. But if I disagree, it can only mean they love being contrarian assholes.
How dare you!
Number 6. Blame the bad taste of the audience. They like the same shit over and over again instead of the niche nonsense I like, because most like mainstream stuff, whatever I like is often getting axed. Therefore it's all their fault that it's not the other way around. It's the stuff most people enjoy that should be getting the axe, while the stuff very few like should be going forever.
How dare you!
Number 7. Blame the animation studio. When it doesn't have Sakuga 24/7, people lose interest and what I like gets overshadowed by shows with better animation. Why are they hiring studios that aren't KyoAni or Ufotable to animate everything? What's so hard in making 80 different episodes every week? What's that? They already die from overwork just by working on a couple ones every season? I don't care. It's the studio's fault that my favorite show doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Everything should look amazing, so nothing will be amazing because they will all look the same.
How dare you?
And number 8, blame the streaming service. If it's not Funimation or Crunchyroll, nobody's going to watch the shows I like because they're not popular. It's their fault that my favorites are not getting more exposure and get discontinued. Look at Netflix that has almost everything streaming there. And all the shows are still getting ignored because there are way too many titles for someone to choose something to watch.
How dare you?
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
The topics about anime being in decline resurfaced recently, and so did the defenders that claim that they are better than ever. It's a fine excuse for making a summary for why anime, and by extension all forms of entertainment, like movies and video games, feel like they are in decline. In no particular order, these are the 10 major reasons. Number 1. Overexposure. The easier your access is to something, the less special it feels because you get it all the time. Streaming services and piracy made it way too easy to have access to something, which before the internet was a thing, you could only experience once in a while. You had to wait for it when it airs on television or for when you could rent it from a video club. If you can consume it whenever you feel like it from your computer, you eventually get fed up with it. Number 2. Mainstream appeal. The bigger something becomes, the more it loses what made it special when it was enjoyed by fewer people and because now it became another disposable commodity. It might always be one, but aesthetically speaking, the more people enjoy the same things you do, the less good it feels because it's no longer just for you. Number 3. Identity loss. The more people are into something, the less you matter when you do or say something, because there are way too many people who are doing the same things you do. You feel unimportant and no longer special for being part of something. Number 4. Higher demands. The bigger the variety of what you consume, the higher your demands become compared to when you had no variety and could only get a few chunks. What would seem acceptable when it's only one available becomes heavily looked into when there are 100 more next to it at the same time. You expect more when you experience more, and that often makes it harder to be entertained. Number 5. Varied impressions. The bigger the community becomes, the more people with different opinions you end up bumping into, and the more different interpretations you keep hearing about something. There is no longer a fixed answer or opinion about something. As much as you like something, there is bound to be someone with a good argument for why it's not as good as you think. That tends to sour your enjoyment, because there are more people than just fanboys who like something. Number 6. Nostalgia. We tend to remember the best and the worst of something, so the past always seems to be more polarizing than what it actually was. Whatever you consumed as a child is probably not as good as you remember it, and that tends to make the present seem worse. By the way, the opposite can also be true. I am taking into account the negative side of nostalgia only. Number 7. Quantity over quality. While a medium is relatively small, each production team focuses on a single project at a time, which in turn has a specific consumer base. The bigger the medium becomes, the bigger the need for more projects to be in production at the same time. The result is, instead of making one show at a time and with the best possible results, aiming at a niche audience, now it's several projects, each one aiming at different people and none of which is individually that good, because there is time pressure and not enough people working on it for proper quality control. Number 8. Inflation. The reason companies are not hiring more people so they can have better quality control is because the economy keeps going through crisis. It's impossible to be sure if there is going to be a stock market crash or a pandemic that will hinder the distribution of a product and the amount of money that one will lose because of things that are out of his control. One of the ways companies use for not collapsing under the weight of debt is by cutting corners, not hiring enough people, or not paying as much for overworking them to death. Number 9. Higher risks. The bigger a medium becomes, the more assets need to be used when producing something. When you invest a fortune, you can't afford to lose money, as you would if there never were many expenses. Companies cannot take the same risks when they get bigger, and as such they play it safe and create easily digestible products that are not trying to be different, and therefore a medium gets stale despite producing a lot more than it used to. And number 10. Lack of creativity. As long as both creators and consumers can be creative with a medium, the quality of the product doesn't matter that much. At the end of the day, any form of entertainment is supposed to keep you preoccupied without feeling like a chore. If the creators care more about their income than creating a product, it shows in the final product as lack of passion. If the consumers are having fun talking or cosplaying or analyzing flower symbolisms, the actual quality doesn't hinder their enjoyment. As long as people have something to look forward to, that something won't be in decline for them. Keep that in mind the next time you feel like you got fed up. Maybe all you have to do is be creative with what you consume.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
So we watched the recent movie, which I am not going to mention its name because I will spoil the ending and I am sure 50 people will mention it in the comments anyways. So in this movie the main characters are trying to make the music that will unite the whole world. They spend the whole movie trying to make it, and only in the finale they realize it's not the music that will unite the world, it's people uniting through the music. So basically the music didn't need to be good, people just needed to like it.
No matter what the reception was for it, it doesn't take anything away from the book that I wrote. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to like it.
Needless to say, I hated the movie because of its ending when everything else about it was fine and almost recommendable by me. Because once again we get the retarded moral message of the song doesn't matter, it's all about the message.
The final Eurovision scoreboard isn't the most important result for him. He's proud his message of LGBT inclusivity has been spread around the world. So much for this being a song contest. What about the song?
And the saddest part is how this is what most casuals think entertainment is all about. As long as you enjoy it, the quality doesn't matter. It's a masterpiece because it made you happy. And it makes you happy because you are part of an echo chamber of people who also say they are happy.
ReZero is definitely a big one because, I mean, people are just falling in love with Season 2, which it just makes me happy to see. Getting to see the news announcement of the Rising of the Shield Hero returning in 2021 makes me very happy.
It doesn't matter what is the thing that made you happy, in the same way it didn't matter what made you angry in the 10 minutes of hate scene in Big Brother. You just hate what is in front of you because everyone else around you hated as well, and that's all the excuse you need for considering something a masterpiece.
Shout! Shout! Shout out his name!
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
Black Clover with 87 topping Jujutsu Kaisen, Boruto, and My Hero. Baby, the year of Black Clover.
It's popular, so therefore it is good. Did you know that because so many people are addicted to meth, and they like meth so much, and they crave meth all the time, that meth is a really cool, fun thing for everyone to have?
I believe it.
Did you know that? It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
People want it. So we got some sales, people. You're gonna be mind blown. Volume 14 of Jujutsu Kaisen sold over 637,000 copies.
The guy's a moron. The guy's an idiot. The guy just sees dollar signs. Dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs, and he's going to protect the dollar signs.
Yeah, 96, almost 100,000. Major congrats, baby. Really love to see it.
He wants to go the cheapest, the easiest, the most manipulative, the most addiction-creating, fucking disgusting way in order to make his money.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
Well, look at that. Chibi saying Demon Slayer started a new era. Something he never said in the past for any other series.
I'm very happy to see that Tower of God is trending today. This just makes me incredibly happy. The start of a new era of anime has officially begun with today, April 1st, 2020. It's kind of interesting that I say that on all days, but I promise you, it is not a joke, it's not a lie. This is honestly the start of something really big that is going to make waves within the anime industry.
Actually, it's something that every dick rider is saying for every overhyped mediocrity that is trending on Twitter for 10 minutes.
We have finally made it into the next generation of shonen manga and anime. We have finally crossed into a new era.
New era this, new era that. Everything is a new era, and we are supposed to be thrilled to be part of it. Because it was so thrilling when Haruhi started a new era of light novel adaptations, and the market was flooded with high school battle harems. And who can forget how happy we all were when Sword Art Online started the era of getting 5 trash isekai every season? Doesn't everything that is new and modern make you happy for destroying what you like and replacing it with something worse? And the worst part is, the only reason all these hype riders are calling everything a new era is because they want to make anime more popular, so more and more people will become potential payers who will be giving them more and more money so they can keep saying every new show that comes out starts a new era. Neither of them are true fans. The former do it for the money, and the latter do it because they only want to waste their money on something that is presented to them as new and popular. You have to follow the fad. It doesn't matter if the show is crap, you have to spend your money on it, or you're going to miss the hype train. And that is why the more popular anime become, the less true fans want to stick around, since they will feel alienated. Nobody around them will actually like anime, and whenever they speak up about it, they will be attacked as haters because they are not selling you a show with 5 sponsorships, 3 advertisements per video, and 3 minutes of begging the viewer to subscribe and check out her OnlyFans for spicy content. Because you really like anime and that is why you are whoring yourself for money. Can't wait for the next brand new era for anime, when things will get even worse.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
Some of you made the mistake of thinking I used the fallacy of ad populum when I mentioned the average scores of Eden Zero compared to Fairy Tail, and called me a hypocrite because I said popularity does not equate to quality. Well then, let me correct you on that, as I do about everything else, since you seem to be unable to breathe properly, much less have critical thinking when it comes to anime analysis. The scores I showed you do not count as ad populum because Eden Zero is not a popular show. It would be ad populum if it was a decade-old show with hundreds of thousands of votes. But that is not the case, is it now? It is a recently aired show for which very few cared about, very few bothered to watch, and even fewer bothered to vote. The average scores I showed you are not what the vast majority of the anime community thinks about it. It's what the die-hard fans of the manga think about it, because they are the only ones who bothered to watch it. In case you didn't know, the first wave of watchers are always the fanboys, the ones who are already invested and the ones who will score it much higher than the non-fanboys, who will come later on. It's why niche titles such as porn games and light novels are seemingly loved by everyone who scored them, but the moment they enter the mainstream they get lambasted endlessly. Why? Because they are porn games and light novels, garbage entertainment made for people with expectations much lower than that of the average viewer. It's also the reason average scores lower with time. It's because after the first wave of watchers come the casual watchers, who have no investment and who will give it less than a 10 just for that. What that basically means is that the scores I showed you do not count as ad populum. The anime just ended, these are the scores of the die-hard fans, and they gave it an average score that is lower than Fairy Tail, despite the former being super popular and quite old. Meaning, Fairy Tail had a better reception even after the casuals watched it and hated its friendship power-ups and sleazy fan service than Eden Zero, which not even the fanboys liked it that much. And I know that scores can be manipulated and that it's fairly easy to create hundreds of accounts just for upvoting or downvoting a show, but this is something that happens to popular shows, not shows very few cared about. I also showed you the averages in all 4 major databases for confirming it's the same in all 4 of them. Unless you believe there are people who would deliberately create hundreds of accounts in every major database for the sake of downvoting a show very few cared about, it's safe to assume Eden Zero is not well received despite the praise it was getting from the hype morons and the sellouts. Not even the fanboys liked it. Therefore, I did not use ad populum because Eden Zero was never popular to begin with, and it ended just recently. And thus I proved once again why the snob is never wrong, and all these people here who accused me of being a hypocrite are morons!
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
You have probably seen images of people making fun of those who have the same shows in their favorites. They are being pretentious, they will claim. They just say they like these specific titles because everyone likes them. It's just the general consensus for what is considered good taste. And that is bad because they are insecure about what they really like and they wanna join the cool kids club. Although there is some truth in this statement, you should always keep in mind that the general consensus does not consist of mostly insecure, pretentious idiots. The vast majority actually believes certain titles are better than other titles. So saying someone is being unoriginal by having the same shows as his favorites doesn't mean those shows are not that good. In fact, the only people who would complain about this are those who don't have a good taste, aka those who have other shows they like more and which are not as liked by the vast majority. The whole thing begins as a variation of the ad populum fallacy, where you say something only because it's the popular thing to say instead of saying what you actually think. The thing is, if you can't back this up with examples of an individual being inconsistent with what he likes, then you're not really proving anything. When someone complains about me constantly making fun of Chibi and the Ogre when they didn't do anything and it's just their opinion, I prove my point with clips where they expose their lies. It is backed up. If you don't have the evidence and only say all these people just follow the general consensus, then you're just butthurt with people not liking the same things you do. Imagine how equally immature it is when someone makes fun of you for having a very peculiar taste. Oh, look at him liking things nobody else likes. I guess he wants to stand out. As simple as that, they did to you what you did to them. You both want to stand out. Whatever you do is about standing out. There is no difference in what you like. And neither of you is right because your reasoning is faulty. You just seek excuses to complain. No matter what you do, how you do it, what you intend, it's always bad. And it's certainly never about promoting good taste or proving why someone is insecure. It's always about hating the world because not everyone agrees with you all the time. How dare they having different opinions? I will hate them no matter what they do, and I will make it seem to be about what is moral and good so I can excuse my bullshit. And again, if you dare to say I am doing the same thing, you have to back it up with evidence where I contradict myself. And not to shrug it off as me trying to stand out. It is not about ignoring the problem by appealing to the masses or trying to show off. It's about proving the other guy wrong with facts and logic.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
This topic about Boruto criticism is the latest example of why anime fanboys are the worst people you can trust to inform you about the show. They can't tell the difference between criticism and hatred. The two terms overlap a lot since usually if you don't like a show you don't criticize it, and if you don't like the show you don't stop criticizing it. There is also the middle ground where you enjoy something despite acknowledging its problems, but it's very rare and impossible to be comprehended by fanboys. This specific fanboy claims that he does know the difference, and he only wants people to stop repeating the same problems over and over again every day, thinking all this negativity is destroying the community. Even though a community is not destroyed when people are being negative, it is destroyed when it is inactive. A community needs traction. Without it, there cannot be any engagement. When people stop interacting, they stop caring, and when not many people care, the sales go down and the manga gets cancelled. If a manga with horribly low sales like Boruto is not allowing people to be critical about it, it effectively kills the remaining people who still care about it. Because infamy is still fame. It creates traction, it keeps the community alive, and the manga doesn't get cancelled so fast. If that sounds weird and you cannot comprehend the concept, think of Kakurabachi, a manga which became super popular before it was even out, just because people were making memes about it. The actual first chapter was mediocre, but the memes alone give it a ridiculous amount of engagement. If the memes die and the manga remains as mediocre, it will get the axe because nobody will care anymore. It's the same situation with Boruto. It is a horrible manga that shouldn't exist. People constantly complaining about it is what keeps the engagement going. The moment they stop, because idiots like this guy here scares everyone away, it's over for Boruto. The fanboys of the manga are very few and will be unable to keep it alive on their own. And I say that as someone who experienced the rise and fall of anime forums. While people had a reason to need forums, mostly for figuring out which shows are worth checking out, at a time when the internet was very slow and DVD prices were astronomical, there was a lot of traffic and engagement. When anime databases became elaborate enough to prove there weren't many actually good anime, and when the internet became fast enough to allow you to torrent most anime, more and more people kept leaving the forums, traction and engagement went down, and eventually they died. The same thing happens with any anime, any video game, and any live-action series. If the source material is not good, you need engagement more than you need positive opinions. It's the only thing that keeps Boruto and Kakurabachi alive. And that's why you shouldn't complain about people complaining. People shitting on the manga you like is still preferable to nobody giving a shit about it.
It's popular, so it's gotta be good.
My Hero Academia is going to be finally on Cartoon Network's Toonami. The beginning of the end for the last bastion of untouched media that the West hasn't touched. Anime, in general, is becoming more relevant in this modern day society. This is good news for the entire fan base, the community. For decades now, anime has been pretty much untouched. It is that bastion of just like, it is weird, it is not for everyone, it does its own thing. It's very different from other forms of entertainment in media. It shows that anime is expanding, at the very least the acceptance for it, and this pleases me greatly. And so seeing something like this, once again, it reminds me that anime isn't like it once was, being very obscure and not really noticed that much, or people just thinking it's not going to perform well, and that's stuff I like to hear about. Now that Hollywood is dipping their toes and fingers into the anime and manga pie, it's only a matter of time until it is eventually pushed out like just factory-made stuff. Like it's on a factory-produced cycle, and there is no love, care, or passion for these projects at all, for the original work. This benefits the community because it allows us to know that My Hero Academia, once again, will gain another boost in popularity. It's going to get much bigger. What these companies are going to want, and what Hollywood is going to want, is just to make as much money as they can, while watering everything down to the point where it's for modern audiences, when anime never should be for modern audiences. Now, I know there's many fans of different communities in anime and manga and all that say, like, I don't want this to get popular, I don't want this to become mainstream, and I understand that, but at the same time, it's a good thing. The fact that we're going to have more companies from Hollywood, aka the West, diving into the anime pie, it's going to cause a lot of things to be censored or changed. This is just wonderful news in general, so I'm just very proud to see that this community continues to grow, and we'll have more fans joining the My Hero Academia fandom, so that's always nice to see.
They all eventually agree with me. You all eventually gonna become like me. I was right all along. Now you just repeat everything I was saying a decade ago. You are all gonna become like me. There is no other option. The snob was always right. Whee!